Hi, my name is Heather DeLong. I work for CARE US on the Food and Water Systems team in the Agriculture and Market Systems unit as a technical advisor for sustainable agriculture. Today, I'm going to talk about sustainable agriculture and agroecological practices. CARE's goal in supporting agriculture is to adhere to the principles of sustainability, productivity, equity, and resilience, known as the super principles, which aim to address the needs of today's world and the needs of future generations. CARE's approach to agriculture puts the gender empowerment framework at the heart of the work by recognizing that to ensure sustainable, productive, equitable, and resilient agricultural systems, we must build agency, change relations, and transform structures. So what is sustainable agriculture? If you look up the definition, there are endless definitions, interpretations, and ideas on what sustainability in agriculture means. A common definition states that the goal of sustainable agriculture is to meet society's food and textile needs in the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Beyond differences in perspectives, there is a general agreement that in order for agriculture to be sustainable, it must incorporate environmental health and integrity, which could include protecting and enhancing natural resources and creating and maintaining a diverse, healthy ecosystem. It must focus on social and economic equity, which includes increasing skills and opportunities, improving livelihoods, improving nutrition, and food safety is inclusive of local knowledge. And it must improve economic profitability. This could mean the creation of job opportunities and competitiveness in the market and supply chain. In addition to many ideas on sustainability, there are also many different terminologies used for sustainable agriculture. You hear words like regenerative agriculture, climate smart agriculture, and many more. On this list are just a few. Each of these approaches may vary, but often you find from a technical point of view, similar methods are used, and the differences in the application and the management of those tools, and sometimes the goals vary. We will discuss agroecology, which aims to incorporate sustainability beyond technical approaches. Technically, it shares many commonalities with other approaches and methods on sustainable agriculture. But just like CARE's super principles and the gender empowerment framework, agroecology takes a whole systems view. This means, in the broadest terms, that everyone has a role to play to becoming sustainable. From the individual farm, to the local and broader ecosystems, and to the communities affected by agricultural and food systems, both locally and globally. It requires the input and participation from farmers, farm workers, consumers, policymakers, and many others. Now, of course, as we discussed before, with agroecology, there are also many definitions that have been defined in many ways by many different players. You can see the FAO's definition of agroecology. Additionally, in the book Agroecology, the Science of Sustainable Agriculture, it states agroecology combines the principles of ecology with the traditional knowledge of indigenous groups, local communities, and small farmers into sustainable production systems that protect agrobiodiversity and ecosystem services and values food security and food sovereignty. Agroecology Europe states that agriculture or agroecology is considered jointly as a science, a practice, and a social movement. This is a very comprehensive visual from Agroecology Europe, titled 5 Levels of Transition Towards Sustainable Food Systems and the Related 13 Principles of Agroecology. To some, this could look like a huge task, but what is important to remember is that, again, we all have very different roles to play. Through a holistic and participatory approach, everyone can make a difference, from the local farmer to the consumer, to the scientist, to the policymaker, and everyone in between. It has been said that each small decision can make a difference and contribute to advancing the entire system further on the sustainable agriculture continuum. The key to moving forward is the will to take the next step. Now, we have taken some time thinking about the definitions of sustainable agriculture and agroecology and the various elements. While all the principles are very important to build sustainable food systems, the remainder of this session will look at on-farm technical approaches that put the principles into action. We will focus on climate resilient agroecological practices and address the agronomic aspects of environmentally sustainable agriculture, with an emphasis on productivity, which can dramatically increase food production on small scale land, as well as increase the amounts of nutritious foods. As we consider technical practices, please note that the presentation only covers a fraction of the impactful practices across the globe. It is critical to acknowledge the powerful role of traditional knowledge and practices, and recognize that many farmers have already been incorporating these practices that we'll discuss for generations. Researchers and policymakers agree that adapting agriculture to impacts of climate change is necessary to ensure food security. And evidence also shows that traditional knowledge and crop varieties of indigenous peoples and local communities are important to adapting agriculture to climate change. A powerful method is using a complementary approach of existing local knowledge and expertise with increasing access to resources, assets, and education for new knowledge and skills that address a changing climate. Very important to agroecological systems is diversified cropping systems and agroforestry. Diversification can occur by adding more than one crop to an area or existing rotation. It can also mean integration of crops, livestock, and/or fish. It could also mean crop species diversity within a variety of one crop. A few potential benefits of diversified cropping systems include increasing the quantity and availability of nutritious and varied food options for both humans and animals. It could also mean expanding potential markets, increasing access to niche markets, creating new or expanded enterprises. There's also numerous environmental benefits, including more resilient ecosystems, and can also enhance beneficial pollinator populations and improve ecosystem services such as pollination and pest control. Additionally, a very complementary and powerful approach is agroforestry, which is a land use system that combines trees, shrubs, or perennial vines and other agricultural crops and/or livestock. Agroforestry adds perennial elements to a farm and creates a more diverse system that better mimics natural ecosystems. Among many potential benefits include improved pollination services, improved soil health, lower water needs, higher water quality, improved air quality, improved pest control, canopy for shade-loving crops, and the potential for diverse enterprises. There are many simple and quick ways to implement agroforestry, as well as long-term methods as well. There are just a few listed here. The importance of soil health is of the highest importance. Healthy soil should be considered living ecosystems that help to sustain plants, animals, and humans. And more productive soils can lead to healthier crops. Here are just a few healthy soil practices that farmers could adopt. These include cover cropping, as well as green manures, crop rotation, minimum tillage, compost, and mulching. In addition to the many techniques that we've discussed so far that already help to conserve water and enhance water availability, there are other techniques and approaches as well to sustainably manage and use water resources. Such methods include choosing appropriate crops that are best suited to local water conditions. This could mean, when applicable and possible, choosing low water crops or drought-resistant varieties, considering how and when to irrigate, choosing best planting techniques to increase water conservation, such as planting ground spreading vegetables like squashes with climbing vegetables like beans. Other techniques include contour ridges, sometimes called contour furrows, or using raised beds, which can drastically reduce soil compaction and allow for better drainage. Also, it's very important to consider integrated pest and disease management, which is a sustainable approach combining biological, cultural, physical, and chemical tools in a way that minimizes economic, health, and environmental risks. A very important thing to consider is that a pest is defined as an organism that poses health, environmental, and economic risk. But an organism that is a pest in one environment may be beneficial in another. That means, as an example, all insects are not pests. Knowledge is key. A few approaches to integrated pest and disease management include setting action thresholds, meaning knowing when and how much action is needed, monitoring and identifying pests to understand the difference between the beneficials and the pests, and understanding which measures should be taken. Also, prevention is critical through the creation of building healthy ecosystems. And finally, control, which could include culture to reduce pest establishments, mechanical and physical measures, and finally, chemical measures. Resilient seed systems are critical to ensuring climate resilience in agroecological systems. This includes efforts to increase farmer and community managed systems through examples such as seed saving, local seed production, and community seed libraries. Additionally, as women have traditionally been responsible for the care and management of seeds, establishing commercial seed systems that are more women responsive is critical. This could be accomplished by getting crop breeders to work more closely with women farmers to identify their needs and breed appropriate seeds. Another step towards maintaining resilient seed systems is understanding that while farmers will often want to plant high-yielding varieties such as cash crops, it's extremely beneficial to maintain a mix of traditional crops and improved varieties, which will ensure better adaptation to climate change and adverse weather, and thereby reduce risk of total crop failure when there is a focus on only one crop. Another step towards resilient seed systems are efforts to support high levels of healthy and productive diverse seeds, which could mean utilizing open pollinated, heirloom, and/or hybrid seeds. Harvest and post-harvest management is exceptionally important to building a healthy agroecological system. Globally, nearly 1/3 of all food produced is wasted before it's eaten. Often produce is lost due to ineffective practices in the field and post-harvest handling methods, moisture levels, and much more. Efficient harvesting and transformation of agricultural produce can reduce post-harvest losses and preserve food quantity, quality, and increase nutritional value. Therefore, strong harvest and post-harvest management is a critical component of agroecological climate resilient practices. Here are just a few technical methods, which include choosing the harvesting at the correct size, harvesting at the proper time of day, choosing the best harvesting method for that particular crop, handling the crop as little as possible, utilizing the best methods to bunch or to package crops, selecting proper packaging or storage containers, as well as storing at the proper temperature. So while we have quickly addressed a number of technical approaches, it's often best to start with planning. Whole farm planning allows for short-term and long-term goals. Whole farm planning can also help sustainable agriculture reach those bigger picture agroecological systems goals, as it can support farmers in tailoring goals and actions over time to best fit needs and preferences for long-term viability. Also, whole farm planning can be done individually or as a group and build in marketing, entrepreneurship, social, and other goals. As an example, here is a simple drawing on a diversified farming system with agroforestry integration, as well as climate resilient agroecological techniques. Whole farm plans could be much more simple with a couple of techniques and goals, or far more complex. Simple plans could help to have more quick and immediate change. But then there's also the long-term goals that can have long-term, bigger picture goals and successes. A combination of individual and collective efforts can help individuals and communities contribute to greater success and opportunities. Finally, here is a list of agricultural learning and extension opportunities and possibilities, including local agriculture extension and advisory services, local nonprofit organizations, farmer research centers, the Farmer Field and Business School, within CARE US, as well as other technical assistance that CARE US provides. Group learning approaches, participatory research and technology development, farmer-based monitoring and evaluation systems, modern communication technologies, and things such as local fairs. Thank you. This has been a very quick overview of sustainable agriculture and agroecology. We appreciate you listening, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or to anyone else on the team or other technical advisors. Thank you so much.